And I like when the guy is sitting there and he baits his fish and he baits his pole and he's sitting there and he's carefully getting all the right stuff on that hook, and then all of a sudden he does this and he casts and he's waiting for something. Now I don't fish myself, but I like that because it's that there's something possible out there. And if I bait my hook right, I may catch something. Well, speaking is just like that. Speaking is just like that because if you bait your hook right, you may hook someone. Would you agree? Mm-hmm. Would you all agree with that? Mm-hmm. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is that when we're sitting there in front of the audience, the first thing we need to do is how do we capture their attention? How do we get them to say, I got it? That makes sense. Well, I'm going to share with you this.
What? Everyone thinks smoking kills? Let me tell you something. Do you know that the amount of people dying from diabetes are 3 times as many people dying from smoking?
The steering wheel jerked. I tried to keep the car in control. That night in Chicago, a flat tire changed me.
You and I are not very different from this flower. Just like this flower is unique, you are unique. All of us have something special that makes us as beautiful. Do you know what makes you special?
Did you see it? Each one of these speakers cast their line, and I guarantee many of you are saying, it's coming towards me. Like a fish, it's coming towards me. And that's the beginning of a speech. But the question is, how do they do that? How do they cast that line? How do they bait that hook properly so that you, the audience, says, yeah, that's a champion speech. That's a winner. Well, I want to talk to you about that. Now, when we're given a beginning of a speech, it starts off by getting the attention of the audience. That's the first thing we're tasked to do. As I prepare the speech, how do I grab your attention? I also have to introduce the topic. So the audience is kind of situated to say, yeah, this is why I'm sitting in that chair. You want to make sure that they know why they're there. And the last one, establish rapport. If you think back about the speeches that we just finished hearing, they were establishing rapport. You and I are no different. Or a joke. He's making you comfortable with listening. So those are 3 champion speeches. But this is how you start a speech. But the opening is really an invitation. That's what it is. For you to say, am I to give this person my attention? To think, to feel, and to act. That's what you're trying to do. When you're standing here, you want to make sure that you're going to get them to think, I want them to feel, and if it's a well-presented speech, I want them to act. I want them to do something differently than what they thought they were going to do before they sat in that chair. So the question now is, what do? How do I get them to think, feel, and act? Toastmasters has shared with us 7 things for an opening. And what I want to do today is share with you what those 7 things are. That's going to get you to say, importance of your topic. You want to think about the speeches that you've been giving. You want to make sure that you let the audience know exactly why they are there. One of the things that you could do is tell your listener why the topic is important to them. For example, one thing that I do with teachers is when we're talking about internet, when we're talking about teachers, and some of the struggles that teachers have is that they're not prepared to do the internet. And so I say to them, or in this case, when we're reading specifically, I say, when they're looking at reading, and I say, do you understand how important reading is? Matter of fact, in the jails today, the highest level, on the average, the highest reading level is a third grade reader. And I get them to think. And that's why your job is to get them past fourth grade. So by me saying, this is why reading is important, bringing that statistic right there, I can get them to think beyond the challenge. The second thing that I can do, and one of our champs said, make a startling statement. The amount of people dying from diabetes is three times the amount of people dying from smoking. The amount of people dying from diabetes is 3 times the amount than people dying from smoking. That is a startling statement. That makes me say, whoa, wait a minute. Okay. That's something to listen to. Another one is number 3, arouse suspense or curiosity. Use a series of statements related to the topic that would pique your audience listening interest. This is one that I'm going to use Wes, for example, if I may. Wes's first speech, he said, he talked about who you are, your icebreaker. But what would have been interesting if you would have said, you know what my last name is? I mean, some people may think it's Rodriguez, Gutierrez, maybe Consuelo, but it's Merlin. Merlin. Because right now you say, well, why Merlin? Because at that time you can say, well, let me tell you how I got the name Merlin. So by me setting it up, I give you a series of statements that get you curious about why is his last name Merlin? Agree? And that's what your icebreaker is kind of about. And that's what I set back to, Merlin. Another one, number 4. Tell a story or anecdote. The champion from 2014 says, the steering wheel jerked. I tried to keep the car in control. He started off by a story. That was his first line. And then that propelled him into everything after that. And so he started off with a story that caught our interest. The other one is ask a rhetorical question. And this one, what would you do if you came home from work and the last thing you thought could ever happen was the first thing that you needed to deal with? What would you do? By me asking that one question, you're right now in your mind saying, what would I do? Because at that point I can set it up. Say, well, guess what happened to me when I got home today? I got a call that one of my members didn't make it. Do you see that? By me setting up a question, it just casts a line for me to bring it in. Bring people in. And then begin with a quote. A quotation adds authority to a speech, amuses the audience, and dramatize the speech point. For example, I usually start when I talk about internet safety and teachers and whatnot and technology, I say, in our effort to wire the classroom, we forgot to wire the classroom teacher. And that connects teachers to saying, yeah, we haven't got a lot of training on how to integrate technology. Yeah, we see all these schools putting down these Wi-Fis and iPads and all that good stuff, but I don't know what I'm going to do. And while I speak to them about what they're charged to do, then what they're thinking about, yeah, we got all this stuff, but I'm not prepared. An effort to wire the classroom, they forgot to wire me, the classroom teacher. So start off with a quote. It's a good way to keep people interested in your presentation. And number 7, you can reference the occasion. That's a good one. You see that a lot. 3 years ago, we were in a small room in Sharp Toastmasters, and we had a couple people in our group. Myself, Ray, Floyd, Mary, Artel, I think you were there, I'm not too sure. But it was small. But look at us now. Look around. I want to talk to you about leadership. What it took us to go from a small group to an awesome group. That right there is my introduction when I reference the occasion. Bring people to the same point of reference and then say, launch. So when you're looking at all of these steps, there are a lot that you can do. You can also add humor, participation, demonstration, exactly what Wes did today, and reference historical events. These are things that you can do as a Toastmaster to make sure that everyone leans into your presentation. You don't want them to lean back. I've been on many stages where I've seen people lean back. But my job as a speaker is to get people to lean in. Because if I get you to lean in, I got you. So in conclusion, these are the 7 things that you need to do when you're looking at your icebreaker, when you're looking at project 1, 2, 3, and 10. These are the things that you really want to do to say, how do I capture their attention? And a simple statement can capture their attention, but it is intentional. It's not a random, okay, I'm going to start it this way. No, it's a very purposeful beginning to a long journey in speech. And if you can do these 7 things, you're going to catch someone leaning in. You ever had a speech and after the speech they tap you on the shoulder and said, that really touched me. That really touched me. Because you know how to grab their attention. Ladies and gentlemen, I charge you, when you're thinking about your speeches, don't think about the ending. Don't think about the middle. Think about the cast. And if you can do that, you know how to begin your speech. Madam Toastmaster.